Good morning, and welcome to Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole, where we are rising in faith and thriving in purpose. And today, we are rounding out the month of love with a wonderful couple. So this episode, we're going to explore the real foundations of a healthy and enduring marriage beyond chemistry and romance. And we're joined by Terence and Ayanna Jackson, and they have been together for 15 years. A love story that listeners will gain insight from, and hopefully we can uncover the secret sauce of commitment, faith, navigating conflict, emotional maturity, and so many other things that contribute to building a life together and still managing demanding careers. So, welcome back, Ayanna. It's good to see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. And so, Terrence, you are a fresh face to the Rise and Thrive audience. So, we have Terence Jackson here. He's all around a really dope individual. And I think he's one of the most humble people that I know. He's very quiet. He's very quiet about his success and his achievement. He's kind of a big deal, in addition to being my brother in Christ and my fellow bison. So, welcome to Rise and Thrive, Terrence.
Thank
HU?
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Clark Atlanta in the
Yes.
house. Thank you.
Come on with the HBCU love, okay? Wait, have y'all gone to each other's homecomings before?
No.
No.
What a minute. So,
Negative.
this makes me laugh so hard because, everybody puts up those stories or the reels and stuff around homecoming, and like, you cannot go to your significant other's homecoming if they went to a HBCU.
He put me on ice during his homecoming when we first met.
It was probably
What
for
had
the
happened
best so that
was,
y'all could be here today.
Exactly. It
amen.
probably worked out.
Amen.
It
Yes.
probably
Yes.
worked out.
That's exactly what was going on.
My goodness. But I just think this is funny being two HBCUs that are like, no,
Yeah.
versus one. Okay, thank you. I wasn't ready for that.
There's never been
So,
a conflict there, though. It's never come up. It's never been a, hey, let's.
Yeah, no. It's
No.
an HBCU household and we love it.
I love the mutual respect.
Yes. I get overshadowed a
Yes.
lot, but it's okay. I get it.
Okay, well, take us back. How did the two of you meet, and what initially drew you to one another?
You want me to tell the story?
You can tell the story. You can tell the story.
So, you were bringing up homecoming. Being in DC, there are a lot of events that happen. So this was during Black Caucus weekend. There was an event.
CBC
Yes.
weekend.
Yeah, CBC weekend. I went to, I think it was called Love at that point. So we had transitioned from Dream to Love.
DC real ones now.
If you
You're
know, you
right.
know. And, me and my homie, we just got there. We were going upstairs. We were at the bar, and I was standing at the bar, and somebody tapped me and was like, can you get me, order me a bottle of water? And I turned around, and behold, it was this
Yes.
this gorgeous individual standing before me, and I was like, hey, okay. And then she tried to pay me for the water, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's water. It's really not that deep. And
So, if it
honestly,
was a
from
cocktail,
there,
you was gonna make her pay?
we
Yeah,
didn't
no.
we didn't get to that point. I don't know.
I just wanted water. I was thirsty.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? We didn't know each other, but
Yeah.
it was just something
Right.
when we turned around, and when I turned around, and we just kind of had that connection, and
Mm.
we talked for probably about a good 20, 30 minutes going back and forth with each other. And we actually exchanged numbers. Yeah, I mean that was, I mean, we met. It was love in the club at Club Love.
That is the approved story. I support that story. Usually couples
There's
tell
so
how they met.
much.
Usually couples tell how they met, and the man has a story, and the woman has a story. That's pretty much the story.
Oh my goodness, but for real, talking 20 minutes in the club setting, that's a long
It
time.
was. Now the side story
Okay.
The B side of that story was when she tapped me, I was talking to someone else. So that conversation, I don't honestly, to this day,
Who
I
was
don't
he
know what
talking to,
happened to that
sis?
person.
Who was he talking to?
I I don't know. I mean, I didn't
Okay.
walk up and like interrupt the conversation. He was standing there. I was trying to get to the counter so I could get some water, and I just tapped him on the shoulder to say, "Hey, excuse me, can you give me some?" So I never even saw the other person that he was talking to.
Okay. Okay.
That's my story.
So what drew you to one another? So you looked around, you saw this beaming beauty. What was it
Yes.
for you, Ayana?
He had on a suit, a really nice gray suit, shirt and
Love
tie,
a
the
man
whole
in a suit.
nine. Right. He was really tall. He had a great smile. Uh,
You better show the
and
people the
when we
pearly
started
whites.
saw the pearly whites. And when we started talking, just in the course of the conversation, he happened
Mhm.
to mention he was from Alabama. And that struck me as surprising because he didn't have an accent. Like I never would have picked up on the fact that he was from the South. And so that was intriguing, great smile, nice looking. And, he was kind of like my type, physically tall, brown
That's
skin,
my
chocolate.
type.
That
My
was my
type.
type. Yes.
I love that. So what was it for you, Terrence?
Outside of the physical, appearance, she just seemed really down to earth.
Mhm.
We in that short period of time that we were talking, we talked about. I mean, it was a lot compacted into that 20 minutes. Obviously, I told her where I was from. Side note, what she didn't tell me is where she was from. She didn't tell me where she was from until later. That's a topic
He
of
didn't
another
have.
conversation.
He didn't have.
Like I said,
Why
and then when
you
she gave me her business card, I was like, oh, okay. We on that level. She gave me her business card at that time. She was working for
Now
Starbucks.
be for real. When I gave you my business card, you thought I was a barista. You thought I was a barista who just so happened to
Terrence
have a business card.
fired?
I didn't. I saw the Starbucks logo. I didn't read the title. I was just like,
You thought I
oh,
was a
they give
barista
baristas
with a business card.
business cards. Okay.
You thought she came to CBC for to come up for a husband. Like you thought she
As a
was
barista.
choosing that.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, it could have been a number of reasons she was there. These events have corporate sponsors. I mean, she could have.
Yeah.
So
I am hollering. Okay, so I forgot where you were, but this is hilarious. Did you say, well, like, so y'all covered a lot of ground. She didn't tell you where she was from. Was there any, what was there anything else?
Didn't mention where I was from because I had just moved to the area probably a couple of months ago. So I think we met in September of
Hmm.
2006. And I had just moved to the area like middle of summer, end of June, early July. And had a couple friends here already. And just, he didn't ask me where I was from, but I have trauma from telling people that I'm from Detroit and people automatically being like, "Ooh, Detroit is rough." Oh, and there was just a lot of negative connotation associated with being from Detroit. So I didn't mention it, one, because he didn't ask, but two, because I'd had so many negative experiences in the past with telling people, my home city. Now, I love Detroit. I'm proud of Detroit. Did I tell people for a long time that I was from Michigan? Yes, but that's why it didn't come up.
Yeah. That is so funny. But yeah, when I think back about this is 2006, yeah, some things was moving and shaking. People
Yes,
representing the D. They was
yes,
doing the things.
exactly.
So what stage of life were each of you in when you met?
You want to go with that first?
It's this
yeah. So
hearty laughter.
the stage of life that I was in was, I don't even know if I can really put an actual name to it. I'll just say it was transitional.
Okay.
Being in DC during that time, there was a lot, literally a lot going on. And, I was very much a socialite, meaning, if the club was open, I was there, whether, it was Love or, some of the other local staples, that were going on. I was very outgoing and not necessarily looking for her per se. I was just trying to focus on, what I had going on. And, it was It was just a lot going on. It wasn't probably the healthiest state of affairs from a social perspective, because I was out a lot, and that comes with a lot of other physical things. I was drinking a lot, partying a lot, and it just wasn't the healthiest space to be in. Looking now, having that hindsight to look back, 20 years or so, I was searching for something. I didn't know what that something was, but God had a funny way of bringing me what I needed.
Tapped you on your shoulder.
Indeed.
All right, Ayana, what stage of life were you in when the two of you met?
So when I met him, like I said, I had just moved to the area. I was social, I was out, but I was also very career driven. I was very ambitious in my career at that point. I was in my early to mid 30s, very focused on climbing the corporate ladder, very focused on getting to the next level, but also outgoing, social, like to hang out, single, making a little bit of coin. I had my own place. I had just moved to the area on a corporate move. I had just come up here from Atlanta. And so Atlanta during that time, it was Atlanta. It was the Atlanta that we all know. And so I came up here, I think, with a lot of expectations socially. And I jumped
Okay.
right in. I had a few friends up here and we were definitely hanging out. The job that I was in was new. So I had just started working for Starbucks at that time from a regional perspective in human resources. And so just very career focused and very socially single, hanging out focused. So was I unequivocally looking for a husband? If I met somebody, great. If not, I'm having a good time just hanging out.
I was just thinking, like, what was happening in 2006? I was like, oh, bro, you snatched her up early. Well, I guess we'll get there, but at least y'all crossed early because I don't know what point y'all got there. We'll get there, right?
Yeah.
But that was also the centennial for Alpha Phi Alpha. I spent my first
Okay.
summer in DC '06. Yeah, I was in
Okay.
DC that summer too, but I don't think I ever saw y'all because I was outside socially too.
We was out there. We was out there. It's
I
a
was
100 Black
outside
Men
socially too.
Conference. It was a 100 Black Men Conference. It was, I think it was post Olympics for
Mm,
Atlanta. I
okay.
think that was the
Okay.
'04, '06 Olympics, something like that. The housing market was still great because the housing market crashed in '08. So during that time, real estate prices were good. Everybody was buying everything and flipping everything. This, to me, it was a fantastic city. It was great when I first moved here.
Great time to be alive. You are
Yeah.
absolutely right. Like,
Yeah.
that was very picture it. DC,
Yeah. 2006.
2006. Yes.
And I moved here in the summertime. And most cities are fantastic in the
Summer
summertime.
was good. Yep.
Yeah.
Summer '06 specifically was a good summer.
Indeed.
It was. It was. It was. Just like the good times,
Yeah.
like just a good time to be alive.
There you go.
Looking back, were there signs that this relationship was different? And like, was there an immediate knowing or was it more like a gradual clarity or understanding?
I think for me, it was gradual, but I think what gave it clarity was that it was easy. It was an
Okay.
easy relationship. It was, how you're in some relationships, and of course, you always have trauma and baggage that you bring, and you're waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting for, what's he gonna do wrong? Or, oh, what's the big red flag? I never had that.
Mm.
The shoe never dropped. The red flag kind of
Oh,
presented
that's
itself.
beautiful.
It was just an easy relationship. Like I've always felt like talking to him was easy, making plans was easy, hanging out was easy. It was just easy in comparison to
Yeah.
previous relationships where there was drama and trifling and, all the things. It was an easy
I
relationship. So
commend
it was a
you.
gradual point to that.
Yeah. I love it. I hear pacing. I hear like, that you were secure in your attachment. Like it didn't need to be like fast, fast. You know what I mean? And it just sounds healthy. And for some people, if they had a history of like trauma, baggage, all that stuff, they would have been like, this too easy. They would be
Mm.
looking for the drama and
Right.
the smoke and would have got bored with it and be like, oh, he's so predictable. Right.
Hell yeah,
But
no.
no, you're like, I like this. Give me some more.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. What about you, Terrence?
For me, it was gradual. So what she didn't say is, so we met. When was this? Was that like September?
September.
So we exchanged numbers, and I didn't call her
Sure didn't.
until after Howard's homecoming. So going back to this whole full circle to homecoming, I didn't call.
We put her on
Wait
hold
a
till
minute.
homecoming's over.
Wait. You don't get to just skip that. I hear the strategy. I hear the strategy, and I want you to explain because I know what I'm hearing or what I think the strategy was, but I want to hear you first.
Hmm.
I wanted to make sure she had my devoted attention, and at it was Howard's homecoming. So I mean, just being 100% transparent, it was a lot going on. So I just needed to make
It's
sure
always
I
a lot
was
going on.
on the other side of homecoming. You got people coming in town, people you ain't seen in a minute. You know how that go. So
And you
I
probably
wanted
had
to,
some plans, and you
I
didn't
wanted
expect.
to make sure that I could focus my time and attention on her because I felt that this was different. So when we got past homecoming, I re-engaged, so to speak.
Okay.
So, and she was actually a little bit annoyed on the re-engagement because she was basically like, so you did get my number, basically. I was like, yeah, my bad. I was waiting on homecoming to get over it. So that I didn't help myself out
He did not.
a lot, but I was being
You
transparent.
said
I
that?
did. I did. I was being transparent. And she was actually getting ready. You were getting ready to go home, I believe.
So so we met in September. Homecoming was in October, and I think we did keep in
We
touch
kept in
during.
contact.
We were texting, and
We were texting, but this was early text messaging,
yeah,
and
Slow
I was
motion.
hard on the text message. And I didn't really pick up the phone
I was a
because
caller. Like, can you just, if you want to have this conversation, can we just talk about it? Yeah, you're right. This is the early days of like texting before you had really long conversations over the phone on texting.
And then where texts, like, unless you had an unlimited plan, you got so many texts a month, each
That
billing
part,
cycle, depending
and I
on.
think that was my work phone.
it was. Oh, we didn't even get into that. Sidebar.
That's right. You
The
gave
number
him the
that she
business
gave
card.
me, the number that she
Tell it,
gave
Terrence.
me was her work cell phone number. I didn't get her real cell phone
The
number
real
until
number.
later.
Got to work.
And that's how I found out she was from Detroit.
That's what it was.
I was like, oh, this
The
is
zip code.
this is
I mean, the
De-
area code.
where you from? And she was like, Detroit. I was like, okay, okay. Because she hit me with the 703 number. I was just like, oh,
Virginia.
okay, the Virginia boy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's when you had to
This,
carry two phones, a personal phone and a work phone. If
which
you were
one was a
smart,
BlackBerry?
my personal one. I
I
had the
knew there was a
BlackBerry.
blackboard
Yes, the
in this
BlackBerry with the
story.
buttons, the
yes,
little button in the middle that
The
was the
pearl.
cursor. I had the
yeah,
pearl.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, old school. Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. So, Terrence, when you said you re-engaged after homecoming, I was like, okay, it was September when you met her. Okay. You probably had already, well, you have to have your homecoming already mapped out.
Yes.
You
Yes.
already knew what
Yes.
events you was going to. You likely knew who was coming in town, and you did not expect a wife to walk up to you a
I
month
did not. Did not.
month before, because she a wife. Okay, she was born a wife,
Yeah.
baby. You just made
Full
it
blown wife.
official.
Yes. Yes.
Full blown wife walked up to you, like, but the fact that you knew and you said, I'm not gonna go in full throttle because I already know what I'm about to do. So
Right.
I have there's a certain respect there a little bit because you're like, I'm not gonna bring her into no foolery, but I
Right.
still want to
Right.
do what I
Yes.
want to
That's
do. I'm
exactly
not.
what it would have been. Foolery. Foolery. Yes. That's exactly what it was.
And Ayana, I'm glad that you allowed him to re-engage.
Yeah, I did because again, I felt like we kind of had that connection. I thought he was super cute, and um during that time, it's not like I was just sitting there like waiting. Like I was still going out, hanging out, kicking it, going to happy hours, connecting with new work people, and and then I had a heck of a commute. I was going from Upper Marlboro to past Falls Church. I think it was Vienna. And so that took up a lot of time just commuting. So it's not like I was like patiently waiting, but we kept in touch. We texted every now and then. We did. Did we go out before homecoming?
We did, we did. We
Yeah.
went out. I think that was our marathon outing when I was late picking you
He
up.
was late for the first date, y'all.
I was late. I was late for the first date. I called and was like, "My bad. I'm sorry. I overslept." So it
Because
was
he was heavy in
again.
the
I
club
was late.
socially.
Yep, another late night out. But
Still gave him a chance. Don't give up, ladies.
so I went and picked her up, and so I get to her house to pick her up, and mind you, I'm still in barista mindset. And I'm just like, man, she got a house? Man, she must be a super barista. I mean, she must be.
Not super.
So your position was not on the business card, just like your name, number,
I
and
mean, it
Starbucks, basically.
was,
It was.
but he didn't pay attention
I
to
did. I didn't pay attention to it. She gave it to me in the club. I put the number in my phone in the
it.
car and just
And
push it.
go. Okay.
So picked up that day. We spent the whole day together. We went.
Yes.
We went out to somewhere. It was far, Leesburg. I think the outlets out in Leesburg. So drove out there, shopped, ate, came back.
Yeah,
With
change.
PF change, came back. We just, going back to what she said, it was just easy. Even though I was late, we still had a good time that day, and it was just easy. And then that turned into more dates, and
Little hole for homecoming.
and then right before, I think it was right before the holiday. Oh, was it after the holidays? I
It
don't.
was before Thanksgiving. So I
Yep.
was going home for Thanksgiving to Michigan to visit my family.
Yep. And then I told her, tell my future in-laws I said hello.
I was so mad.
She was so. She
I was so
was
annoyed.
fire. She was fire hot.
I was
She was
annoyed.
mad. She was
I was
mad.
annoyed. I couldn't believe he said that.
Why?
I don't know. It just felt so rude and inappropriate.
And here we are. Here we are.
Yes.
I love
Well,
my
I mean, it was
father-in-law and my
early.
mother-in-law.
Right. So, but like, did you really mean it, or were you just being cute and
Oh, I meant
flirty?
that. I meant that. He who finds a wife, he who
Find
finds.
a good
I
thing.
have found my wife and my good thing.
He did.
And I meant that. I meant that from the pit of my soul.
And he calls me about it to
Listen.
this day when we go visit my parents.
I mean, Terrence, it was so early. You had done the homecoming fumble, and now you're talking about you somebody's future son-in-law in a matter of months, in a
This
2-month
is
span.
so. This is for your listeners that are watching and listening to this. When a man knows, he knows, and I
Okay.
knew she was different. I called my mom. I called my mother and was like, I found the one. I remember that conversation with my mom like it was yesterday. And even my mom was like, I had never had that type of conversation with that level of intensity where my mom was like, no, this is the one. So I knew.
How did you know?
It was, like she said, it was just easy. I had been in relationships before that were absolutely hard, and it was almost like jockeying for position, tit for tat, and this one was easy. I mean, one of the times that we went out, this is when Lucky Strike was still open, downtown, Chinatown. This is another marathon date. We've been together all day. That was another sign. Our dates were
All day.
all day. It
12
wasn't like,
hours.
hey, I'm gonna come pick you up, take you out there, deuces, and then I'm going to the club and hang out. No, I was intentional and I enjoyed hanging out with her. It was easy. But we were at Lucky Strike. We to get something to eat, and I went to the bathroom. And when I came back, she had paid the bill. And I was like, whoa, what what just happened? She was just like, nah, it's good. I got it. And I was like, whoa.
But also because in my mind, we were going to the movies or something after
Yeah.
that, and he had paid for the movies and like our snacks earlier. So in my mind, I'm like, because we had just sat to have drinks. I think we had like drinks and an appetizer that we shared. So I was like, I'll get it, no big deal, because he had bought the
Yeah.
movie tickets and all this other stuff. So to me, I was just looking at it from the perspective of, oh, let me just help out. And I know nowadays, ladies, I know how we do. We ain't pulling out nothing. But again, we had already been on a couple of outings, a couple of dates. He had already paid for everything, picked me up, drove me home, all the things. And so in my mind, I'm like, I can cover 2 drinks and an appetizer since he already paid for all this stuff over here. That was just
Yeah.
my line of thinking. I personally did not think it was a big deal. I really didn't think anything of it. I just paid it and we was getting ready to leave anyway. It did something for him. He was like floored.
What it do for you, bro? What it do for you?
I mean, it was the act. It wasn't about the amount. It was the act that she did it. I mean, again, this was DC in 2006. If anybody who's around that time, know, especially brothers, you was out on a date or a date, and the expectation was you had been on one date or 1,000 dates. The expectation was, you got it, which I didn't have a problem with. But again, the fact that she volunteered unprovoked
Mhm.
and was just like cool with it, I was like, well, again, different. That there were signs that she was different from the beginning. So going back to when she tapped me on the shoulder, she tried to pay for like a $3 bottle
I
of water.
did.
And I was just like, "It's a bottle of water, come on." But she was always giving in that sense, always considerate. She would ask what I wanted to do, or so it was a different vibe. And I guess at that point I'd been through enough bad situations to where you really recognize when you got a gem, when you got,
Yeah.
the one. So I wasn't trying to mess that up.
Yeah. So, what did you say to your mom?
I mean, literally, I was like, "Mom, I think I found my wife." And she was, like, "Oh, really? Tell me more." And I told her, like, we've been hanging out. I told her, like, oh, she actually paid a bill. I mean, the check and just other things. Because when I made that phone call, we were out shopping again. See a theme here. We spend a lot of time shopping, eating, and doing other stuff. But we had went to, I think it was PG Plaza. Long story on that one. But it was a store over there, I think, called Eddie Leonard. And we were in there, like, doing some random shopping. And she picked up, like, some jeans and a coat. And she was like, "Oh, I think you would look nice in these." And she bought them. And I was like,
Now, I bought them. By this point, was it February?
yeah, I think it was February.
It was a Valentine's gift.
So again,
Okay.
unheard of. Unheard. I was like, whoa. And then the other telltale sign was my crew
I
was
was going to ask about
y-
them.
the crew was like, "Dude, you don't hang out with us no more." Like T, like what's the deal, man? And they gave her a nickname of Starbucks. They was like, "You going to hang out with Starbucks again?" I was like, "Yeah." They was like, I'm like, bro, I'm like, I
Life
don't know
is
what you
better
want.
with
I don't know what you want me to
Starbucks.
say. It's like you always with her. I was just like,
Like, that's the point, bro.
yep. So that's when you start getting harassed by your fellas and you don't care. That's always another. So I was like, all right, man, y'all got to do what y'all got to do. I'm out. Peace. And then I brought her to. We spent we spent New Year's Eve together that year at Cafe Asia. So
Yo, I have not heard that in so long.
yeah. So
Real
The
DC
places
wants
have
some.
come and gone in
yep.
DC. Where
So
was Cafe Asia?
it was downtown somewhere. Don't even get me
That's
started.
all I can remember is downtown. I can't remember where.
I want to say like
Wow.
14th
And
Street,
we
but
went
don't
in
get
through
me
like the
18th.
side door. Like we didn't even go through the front. It was
I knew the promoter for the
It
party, so
was. Yeah. We probably knew the same person.
yeah, pretty sure we did.
it's an offline conversation.
You're right. Okay, wow. So Cafe Asia.
Yep.
Continue.
We just hung out it was New Year's Eve. I hadn't made any plans. I think I asked him what he was doing at the last minute or like the day before or the day of. It's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to Cafe Asia. I was like, oh, can I tag along? Mind if I go? He was like, sure. I think my hair was probably just like this. My hair was not done. I threw on a dress and some boots and I just went out. We just hung out. And after
Mm-hmm.
that, I think we kind of knew. Like we were, who the old wives' tale is whoever you kiss on New Year's Eve is who you're going to be with for the year. That's what happened.
Yep.
And then that turned into many more. Ayanna, how do you know that he was the one?
Mainly because it was just easy and he was just so, so kind. Like, there's a difference between niceness and kindness. Nice is, "Oh, you look nice today." Kind is, "Oh, let me help you do XYZ." It's that real key difference. And I know for me, one of the real funny but main factors, he was over to my house one day and he was looking at my thermostat and he was like, "This thing is ancient." I'm like, "Yeah, but it works. But, I think my gas bill is probably a little too high because of it, whatever, whatever." Didn't say anything else about it. We went out, had a good time, whatever. And like a couple days later, maybe like by that weekend or whatever it was, he shows up back to my house. He told me he was coming. He shows up back to my house with a bag from Home Depot. And in the bag was a new thermostat kit.
You better.
I said, "What is that?" He said, "It's thermostat kit. I'm gonna change your thermostat for you." And I went so like floored because again, I don't think anybody up to that point had been that kind, that considerate to do something that I would have never thought to ask him to do is change my thermostat. And I knew, I guess this is probably the point where I knew he was the one is because I trusted him to do it. I didn't for a minute think he about to mess up my whole HVAC system. He about to tear my electrical grid up. Like I didn't have those thoughts. I had the thought of, "Oh, while he's doing that, I should make him something to eat." Right? And
This
so that's
this is
how I
giving
kind of looked
husband and wife.
exactly, exactly. And it was just so wild to me because you never would have thought, again, it's just something you couldn't have thought of. Like somebody kindly changing my thermostat to make something easier for me to save some money on my gas bill, things like that. And again, because I trusted him to do it, was a real game changer in comparison to all my past relationships. Whereas anybody else, if this would have been 5 years ago, 10 years in Atlanta, somebody would have showed up. I'm like, you're not about to mess up my system and put this in. It would have been that. It wasn't that
Yeah,
this time. I unequivocally trusted him to do it, and that level of kindness just really took it off the top for me.
that's awesome. You better labor with love, Terrence. I'm here for it.
Labor.
Okay. You better put in some work. Okay.
But I was
That's
sweating bullets while
attractive.
He was
I was sweating
man.
bullets while I was putting the thermostat in. So I had never installed a thermostat before,
I
but
find out
Of
but
afterwards.
course
I'm
not.
I'm technical though. I was just like, how hard can this be? It's got some wires. Unplug the other one, put the new one in. But the one that she had, when she said ancient, it was ancient. It's a little
Israel.
turned out, when you turn it. And I bought
Yes.
this big digital, you can
Electronic
program it. You know me.
So you was
Long
already
story
deep
short,
into the cyber journey.
yeah,
Okay.
This
yeah.
was the beginning.
But I got it installed and
It's
it, it,
still
it
there.
worked.
Wow. And I also hear that it was a little more than kindness, it was care. He cared about the experience you were having. So I love that you took action because love is action,
For
it's
sure.
listening and
Absolutely.
applying it. So I love that. So the two of you both talk about meeting and there being an attraction. What mattered more than that for you all to be able to move forward? Good. You can tell the story how you want to tell the story.
I'll help her out with this one.
Thank you.
So this is probably after we've been dating for a while, and this remind the audience that I still was happy houring and hanging out, and honestly, she would be with me some of those times, but she hit me with I call it the ultimatum of sorts,
Mm,
and she basically said like, "Hey, look, I enjoy hanging out with you. This is great. This is cool, but one of us is gonna have to have a lifestyle change." And it's not gonna be me. I mean, she looked
mm.
at me, dead in my face,
And this is
and she
this
was
is bold.
dead
This is a
serious.
face-to-face combo, not a
Yes,
text. This
not a
is
Not
text. This is
text.
a text. And I
mhm.
was like, whoa, like, okay. And I had a decision to make. And obviously, we know how the story ended, going back to it was something that I was looking for that I didn't know that I needed. I think it was really at that point where I realized what I needed. And you know, I needed to do some things differently if I wanted to get different results. And what she was saying wasn't wrong. I didn't even, it's hard to catch me speechless. And that was one of those times I didn't have a snappy
There was no
comeback or
rebuttal.
rebuttal. it was like she hit me, just punched me in the chest, like, and I was like, ooh.
But the funny thing is, it wasn't really meant to be an ultimatum in that moment. Like, I wasn't asking
Mhm.
him to make a life decision choice right in that moment. This was just in the broader course of a conversation because we were probably talking about hanging out and the next date and him going out and all these plans I got. And I was just like, one of us is gonna have to have a lifestyle change, and it's not gonna be me. And what I really meant by that was, the hanging out was cool. I can't hang out that much. I'm not hanging out with you on Wednesday nights because I'm in Bible study. I'm not
Hello.
hanging out with you super, super late on Saturday nights because I'm going to church. I grew up Church of Christ. A lot of people know that. Some people don't. I grew up Church of Christ. And had I always been super dedicated in the church, in the word? Absolutely not. God's still working on me. So even back then, I wasn't the poster child for the Church of Christ. But I had made some decisions, especially once I moved to this area of how I was going to serve God. And what
Yeah.
I meant when I said that to him was essentially, I can't allow your lifestyle I can't come into your lifestyle to change the life decisions and the lifestyle that I've chosen, which is more centered with God. And I was
Yeah.
very adamant about that. And so in that moment when I said it, it wasn't the ultimate, ultimatum and decide today and what is this gonna be? And you're gonna be in church or that's it. It wasn't even like that. I just
Yeah.
realized he likes to party a lot. Okay, cool. I can't do that a lot. Remember, I'm focused on my career. I'm trying to climb this corporate ladder. I got a job to be at every morning at 8:30, and
Right.
so it was an ultimatum, but to him, but that wasn't necessarily my full intent when I said it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear that. So, what was the transition period like from the moment you had the conversation to actually the lifestyle change?
Man, now that probably could be a podcast in
That's
itself.
a whole show,
Okay.
But
but in a nutshell.
I try to hit you with that one in a nutshell. So we kept hanging out, and I did start pulling back from, some of my shenanigans and hanging out and, starting to distance myself from unhealthy people. But, the best analogy I probably can give is like the prodigal son, choices have consequences. And, I entered a phase of life to where, me trying to outrun my past caught up with me. And that had
Okay.
some consequences. And that was when, a lot of the friends disappeared. A lot of the club fandom, I would say, went away. And it was just, me. Honestly, it felt like it was me, myself, and I. And in those
Yeah.
moments of life when, you basically essentially lose everything from a material and a social and physical perspective,
Yeah.
you really see who's in your corner. And she was there.
Yeah.
My mom was there, my family was there, but the way that she showed up for me when everybody who had always said they was not, no matter what, we thick as thieves, we down like, four flat tires. That's cool until the heat gets turned up and you really get to see who's gonna be your ride or die. And
Yeah.
this was my ride or die. And she loved me during a period of life that I didn't really know if I loved myself. I was angry with me. I was
Yeah.
frustrated that I'd allowed people around me to lead me down a path that I shouldn't have been in. But that was me. I wasn't mad at them. I was there. I made those, choices and had to deal with the consequences. But it's in those moments when it's when you're at I guess, the bottom of the pit where you can see clearest. And I saw everything that she saw in me that I didn't see in myself. And again, she was kind. Again, just her heart and how she was there for me when everybody that I thought would have been there, like, rolled out. I really can't even articulate that in words, but Brother McClure, her God, you guys' godfather always says when people
Yeah.
show you who they are, believe them.
Believe
And I had
them.
a whole bunch of people that showed me who they were from a negative perspective, and I wasn't always in belief of that. And she showed me who she was by her actions and being present and being there when it wasn't popular. A lot of people would have chucked the deuces and be like, "I'm gonna let you got a lot going on over there, bro. So I'm gonna hit you with the deuces."
So how far in were you all when this period of time came?
About 6, 7
Yeah, about
months.
6, 7 months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could have definitely been like, I gotta go.
Yeah. I could have easily been like, "Yeah, okay."
But I had no expectations. I'll put that.
Mm.
I never put pressure on her.
Good.
I had zero expectation of her to delay her life or to put herself on hold while I was trying to figure out my life.
Yeah.
And that's what made it even more, I guess, impressive that it seems like she started coming around more because she just knew that's what I needed because everybody else had kind of rolled out. And then the interactions that she had with my mom for the first time, and my mom was like, yeah, that's the one. Like, that's the one. My mom, I joke with her. I was like, if my mom had to choose between one of us, she choose her. She choose her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She choose her.
Okay. Yeah. So Ayana, I want you to respond to that. I'm like just naturally in hearing that because there's so much in there.
Yeah. So I never had a plan. I never made a definitive decision like I'm gonna stick with him through thick and thin. Because again, this is 6, 7 months in. And so I really just kind of took it day by day. I continued to live my life. I still had a career. I still had bills to pay. I still had cats to take care of, And so I felt like what I was doing was, just not necessarily normal, but just being a good friend. And it didn't cost me anything per se. It didn't take a lot to be a friend. It didn't feel, like, "Oh, I gotta go over there. He gonna be sad, and oh, his mom is here. I might have to get them something to eat." Like it never felt like that. It always just felt like he's going through some stuff. All his people have rolled out. How can I be a good friend in this moment? It was hard. It was heavy. It took forever, it seemed like. But again, I never looked at it from the perspective of once this is all over, we're going to be married and be great. It wasn't that because I didn't know that. I couldn't even
Right.
fathom that. Right. And so, me being there, one, that's just the kind of person I am, I guess.
Yeah.
And two, just being a friend to someone I liked, someone who was kind and cared for me, who was going through it, who I thought could use a friend. And that really is all there is to it. Because there's no way you could ever, plan for that or, you can't fix it. It's completely out of your hands. It's completely out of your control. So I was honestly just rolling with things day to day. I was going to work. I was traveling for work. I had stuff to do. So, I still go home and see my family. And, in the between times, we were still friends and we still hung in there.
So what I'm hearing is that you had a full life no matter what Terrence had going on.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's really important because some people they get fixated on their person and they shrink their life down,
Right.
and then that person literally becomes the center, and then
Exactly.
yeah, that can come with some challenges for sure.
Absolutely.
Nah, she was kicking it. She was in Greece. She still was all over. She was still in.
I did go to Greece. I went to the Bahamas. Oh yeah, I had a good time.
Listen, she was living.
She was.
She was living and still present for you at the same time. I love that.
Yes.
So then so then what's the next phase? You all make it through this rough patch. Then how do things continue to develop? Like how did y'all officially become like an item?
Official.
Cause y'all was skipping steps. Y'all were like y'all kind of met, and then once he reengaged, y'all was basically together all from the beginning.
Yeah, we were.
But
Once she nurtured me through, I would say this rough patch. It was just, I guess it was I don't think it was a light switch on like
Right.
this is
We
it,
back.
but it was. I guess the mindset was more so. I was more intentional because God had removed all of the
Everything.
distractions. all
Won't
of
he
the
do it?
noise. Yes, he will. And so now I was really focused on becoming, honestly, the man that could provide for her, who could meet her where she was. And that's when, I probably started, popping up at church because I mean, I was going to church throughout this whole ordeal, but I became really more intentional with that. And yeah, we just, I guess I would say, to answer that, is probably when it really, really clicked, is when we talked to Brother McClure and was like, hey, we should start doing some pre-engagement counseling. So we were thinking
I
about,
like
the next
that.
step, but there are no proposals.
Right.
So this
And
was
I think that was actually Brother McClure's suggestion.
I love that.
And that's like one of the things I have recommended to like every young couple ever since. Get your premarital counseling before you get the ring, right? Go through
Yeah,
that
because you've already
process.
said yes.
You've said yes, you got a ring, you told everybody, you picked out venues, you might have a dress, and it's going to be some stuff that comes out in those counseling sessions. If you have a good counselor, there's going to be some stuff that comes out. And you don't want to be in a position where you have to pull back and you've already told everybody you got this beautiful ring and you excited about the wedding, right? And so I think that was a key differentiator for us as well, is that on Brother McClure's recommendation, we actually started premarital counseling long before we got engaged, ring shopping, any of that. And I felt like
Yeah.
that was super, super healthy and really, really helpful. Did some surprises come up? Sure. Was it difficult? Yeah. Did, we have to have some difficult conversations? Yeah. But honestly, that's what premarital counseling is for. Like, that's what it's meant to do. It's for you to really think about things that married couples don't tell you.
Right.
exactly.
Because that's their
And it
business.
Exactly.
Yep, and it really helped us get to know each other on a deeper level,
Yes.
and then get to know each other's family histories on a deeper level, because that's one of the things you don't often think about. When the two become one, you're bringing that family
Yes.
history into that as well. So, I mean, we had conversations about, who's going to be the money manager? What's your relationship with
Yeah.
money? What's your credit score? I mean, you literally all of these conversations. So when we actually got to the point where I proposed, we had already, I mean, we keep saying, I guess, on this easy thing, but we had done a lot of the hard work. I mean, had happened before the two actually became one.
Right.
So my
Yeah.
mindset was, if we can make it through that,
Make
we
it
can make
through.
it through anything. And that's where this whole Team Jackson mindset came into play,
Yeah.
that we are a team. The two become one. Leave and cleave. That was our thing. We're gonna leave and cleave. And the two became one. And that's how we've known each other, what, for basically 20
Oh,
years
years.
now, been married 15. And we were Team Jackson
From the
before,
beginning. Yeah.
before we got married, we were Team Jackson.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
made it official.
Yeah, y'all were. Like when you just talk about it, it's like y'all had a natural rhythm. And they were, y'all just did. And it's organic. I just think that's so beautiful. And just like how God is so intentional, and how many storylines had to even match up for both of y'all to be
Right.
in DC at CBC. You
Yes.
be thirsty at the moment he's standing there, like all of that. Like,
A lot of things had to.
Yes.
yes, it's
Yes.
like it's giving movie because you're living your own, you know what I'm saying? Your own plot. You're your main character.
Yeah.
He's doing his own. He T in the club, big T, and
Yeah. Yeah. All that.
all the things. I like when I hear things, I play a movie in my mind. So I'm seeing all of this.
There you
Okay.
go.
So it sounds like there wasn't a moment as much as an organic thing, but like, was it just like a knowing? Like, are we together? Like, what?
Yeah.
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 I mean, to me, yeah, because she was still there, I guess, after I emerged or re-emerged. So I'm just like, we didn't go through all that to now
Right.
not be together. So, I mean,
Okay.
you mind.
I had no choice.
You mine. You mine. You're not going
I'm
nowhere. You
sorry.
mine.
And that just made me think about, but it's not a good comparison. But it's not. It just made me think about, I don't know if y'all familiar with Neo and his polyamorous relationship. And he's in a relationship with, is it
Neo, the
two or
singer.
Neo? Yes,
Yes.
Neo.
Okay. Yes.
And
Unfortunately, I am
he's
aware of that.
right. And so it was just interesting how he was like, "No, they could do whatever they want," but then they're like, I think it was on Sherry where I seen it, and he was like, "Well, if they gave me their commitment, then it's mine. It's mine." But you said they free to do what they want, but okay. But I get it. You professing your love, she
Yes.
was
Yes.
yours, and the
Yes.
behaviors aligned.
Yes.
Because there's
Yes.
some
Yes.
people they be like, "You mine," and they not doing anything. Yeah. So y'all had some challenging times, but were there ever any doubts? And if so, how did you like navigate through those and overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the doubts were, is he going to be able to come through this situation whole?
Okay.
You can't predict anything. You can only hope and pray and, just kind of be the best person that you can be during a situation like that. And so the doubt was really just not so much, is he the one? Are we going to be together? The doubt was, is he going to be able to overcome his challenges? Is he going to be able to come through this situation, not even different or, anything like that? I'm just like, is he going to overcome it? Is the situation going to ruin his life? Is there going to be a life for him to have? And so much of that was out of my control that the doubt was just, it's in God's hands. We'll see,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's so
Yes.
powerful. And Terrence, this sounds like, yeah, a whole other episode and a testimony that needs to be given for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I will say, about that. Um, my mom in retrospect told me what her prayer used to be for me on a daily basis. And it was for me to be humble. She used to pray for my humility. What she didn't know is how God was going to bring that to bear. So, you know, are there things that if I had a, time machine, I probably would have went back and told my younger self to do differently? Absolutely. But, sometimes, no, all the time, God knows what you need to get you to
Yeah.
where he's taking you. And as bad and dark as that situation was, it was necessary. And
Hmm.
it was a blessing because it's a blessing to have things stripped away. And in that stripping away, you get to really see what's important. You get to really focus on the priorities in life. And once
Yeah.
all the noise is gone, you get to really see how, oh, for me, I'll make it personal. I got to see how reckless, how just out of my mind from a thinking perspective that I was. Not to, get too spiritual, but that's how the enemy works to those gentle nudges and the group think to where you're just going along to get along and everything is fine until it's not. And then when you're, alone and it's really just you and God, you're just like, wow, okay. And that's at the point it's still a choice. You can either keep doing the same thing and you're probably gonna get
Yeah.
the same results, or you got to do
Yeah.
something different. And I remember just praying one night. I was just like, Lord, I don't. We gonna take the steering wheel out the car. I don't even want to be in a car with a steering wheel because I want you to be the driver. Because if the steering wheel is
Well,
there,
that's next.
I might touch it. I might want to take over. I was like, I've steered myself into this brick wall, and I would be a
Mm,
fool if I think I can just reverse and turn. So nah, give me a new car with no steering wheel, and I won't trust you.
listen, that's a different type of surrender. You took it to another level, bro. Like, take the steering wheel out the car. I like that. I like that a lot. And that stripping away when you're saying like that is a blessing, that's a gift. It doesn't feel like it when it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's really an invitation to really come into relationship with God and really like surrender, essentially, is what you're saying. And like, as awful as that is, I mean, you were saying that earlier about the stripping away, and I was like, yes, because I experienced my own stripping away, right? And
Mhm.
the beauty and just coming out on the other side of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're much further, right? Like you've come out
Oh, yeah.
and gone like who knows how far from where you were. And your mother's prayer for you to be humble. When you said that, I was like, I don't even know what was going on, but in my head I heard pride comes before the fall.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Big T needed to be humble.
Okay. Okay. That's the thing. And for sometimes that's the only way we learn.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the
And
only way we
yeah.
learn.
And God knew that that was the only way that I was gonna learn, because the subtle warnings weren't enough. So probably about a year or so before, my world got turned upside down, I was at home in Alabama, and my mom's minister drove me back to the airport, and we were just talking, and he said something to me, and he was just like, what you're doing ain't gonna work out right. And
How did he
again,
know?
Big T sitting there like, oh man, what you mean? I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just chilling. I'm having fun, kicking, partying. You probably kicking and partying when you was my age too. And he was just like, Terrence, that ain't gonna work out right.
Mm,
And that
when they
was
say your name
literally,
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He did. He did. He looked me dead in my eyes. But it was just a lot of that, just like, yeah, whatever, brushing it off. And God had sent me people to be like, hey man, you probably want to, rethink some things. It's like, nah, man, I'm living life. And you've heard me say this in Bible study a couple of times, tell people I'm working on my testimony. And yeah, I was absolutely working on my testimony. So in more ways than one.
Yeah.
But that stripping away allows you to really hear God's voice, because God speaks
Yes.
he's not gonna scream. It's that still small voice. But
Mm,
the distractions, the noise, the busyness drowns him out. So sometimes, you just gotta take you out of where you are sometimes to allow his voice to be the loudest one in the room.
yeah. He will bend you. He will. And it's for your own good. Man, I'm just letting that sink in.
It's a lot to
It's a
let
lot.
sink in.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, and God is he's just God. Like he's just good.
Yeah.
All the time.
And it's not,
And I think,
yep. And it's not, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I think what a lot of women in particular might miss in this scenario is that, God had to strip him down to build him back up, but he built him back up as the husband for me. He came into the church partially because of the example that I showed. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I never beat him over the head and said, you got to get your act together. You got to do this. You got to join the church. I never said any of that.
Yeah.
When I told him that one of us was going to have a lifestyle change, that's all I meant. It's like, okay, I'm going to go and do this over here. I'm just going to do me and let me know what you want to do. And so in his humility, he gave
Mm-hmm.
his life to God 110%.
Yeah.
110%. Like, supersedes me sometimes. It's like he checks me. But you need that, right? If you're gonna have a husband and he's gonna be the
He
leader of your
submitted.
household and he's got you right. And he does such a good example, even for me at times, in showing me how to be better, showing me how to get closer to God,
Yeah.
and showing me how to, live a life that's holy for Christ. And it's an amazing turnaround for him. Right. And so I think as what I want the women that are listening, particularly those who are, in their single stage. You may be looking for a mate, you may be single, you may be divorced, whatever it is. Be careful in how you are looking at others. Be careful in how you're looking at that mate, because God is working on all of us. He's working on every single one of us. And his testimony and the way God has literally built him back up from the ground up, I know it was also for me. It has
Yeah.
benefited me and has benefited my family. And so a lot of times, when we were going through that rough patch, people would talk to me like, why are you still messing with him? Why are you still talking to him? And it was just always something within me. And I believe now it's that still small voice that was just kind of reassuring me somehow in my
Yeah.
spirit. Somehow, I can't even tell you, define exactly what it was, but I know now that that was God in my spirit telling me, just hang on, just
Hold
just
on.
chill out, hang tight, it's gonna be fine. And he was right. And
Yeah,
he was
and I
right.
love how you spoke to the women. So, Terrence, is there anything that you would say to men who are in a transition? They not all the way
Mhm.
together, but like they want to be a good husband, and like, how would you what would you say to them?
Oh man, you gotta first you gotta surrender, and it's surrendering to God. Song "Let Go, Let God," but that's real. Because the more you try to hold on to your life, you're gonna lose it. I mean, Jesus even said that.
Ooh, say that
But
again, please.
the more you try to hold on to your life, the more you're gonna lose it. But the more you surrender, I mean, you can't even really put it into words, but you have to make that first step of surrendering. And the world will have you believe that the life of a Christian is stuffy,
Mm.
it's legalistic, you're not going to
Dry.
have fun, it's dry. We are going to need another podcast. So the other part of this story is I'm about to just drop a whole bomb and you got to need a machine, go, pew, 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 pew. I'm a PK. So my father's a minister.
Sir,
So
I
That part.
never
so
knew this.
yeah,
And
yeah. I'm
then
a
no
PK,
wonder why when you were getting driven back, but that wasn't your father driving you back to the airport that
but
said
yeah,
Terrence is not gonna work out. Okay.
I'm a PK. So
This platform always attract the PKs. I don't know what's happening. Like there's so many that I'm like, and I find out in this moment, with the exception of like Edwin, who I knew, right,
yeah,
obviously was a PK. But I'm like, why you a PK?
yeah,
Your granddaddy a PK? Like,
yep,
yeah.
yep. But I'm just going back to that surrender. But I remember something my dad used to always, say. He used to always say, read Proverbs every day, every month. Every day, just pick a proverb and read it because you need to be wise for when tough times come.
That's rich.
Yeah, it was. It is. But you really have to surrender, and in that letting go, you gain so much freedom. There's freedom in Christ.
Come on.
It's not the stuffiness, the legalistic, I can't do things. It's the opposite. I mean, we have fun, we travel.
Yeah. I don't
You
even
know,
think you can imagine what it's gonna be until you're there.
Oh, I can't wait.
yeah, and it's because I used to have this mindset on all the things I couldn't do. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I can't go. It's none of that. But that's what the world
I want you to believe.
wants you to believe. That's what the enemy wants
Absolutely.
you to believe because the enemy knows what God has put in you,
Yep.
what God has put in us. And
Uh-huh.
his job is to kill, steal, and destroy,
And destroy.
and to keep you from reaching your God filled potential.
Mm.
And until you let go and realize that you're not in control, until you put God first, that putting God first is surrendering your will to his will. Putting
Yeah.
God first means come, hell or high water, I'm gonna trust you. When I don't know how a
Mm.
situation is gonna work out
Mhm.
in the natural, I trust that you already released the answer in the spiritual. It's gonna
Come
manifest
on.
itself
Mhm.
in earth as it has already been released in heaven. That's a walk, it's a journey,
It's a journey.
but you
It's
have to
his
start.
timing. It's his timing.
But you have to start though. That's the problem.
This was
Thank you,
so good
Errol.
and
Thank
so
you.
juicy. We're gonna have to split this into two parts. Okay. So you're gonna have a
Okay.
Tuesday and a Thursday drop with this
Okay.
episode.